What up, all you gold medalists? It is Monday, January 6th, Pete's favorite day in the United States and Canada. And this is a show called What Chaos, presented by Prize Picks. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code What Chaos. Get $50 instantly when you play $5. Prize Picks, run your game. My name is DJ Bean. To my left is Pete Blackburn. Further to my left, some might even say across the room, is Sean DePaz. Hello, boys.
Hey,
hello.
Happy holidays.
Looking spiffy, Sean.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Like
It is Pete's favorite day, January 6th.
That's right.
Because the USA won a gold medal in
That's
something.
right.
Or
it's the biggest U.S. event on this date in history.
did they win? Did it spill into midnight? No.
No.
Yeah.
Celebration
It was
did.
like, ooh, yeah?
It's
Yeah.
observed. You know, like when there's a holiday on a
Gold
weekend, you
medal day
observe it on
observed.
Monday.
Love that.
It's a day for champions.
I got a lot of thoughts on the World Junior situation, but we are back in studio. We haven't done a proper in-studio show since like November.
It really feels like it's been over a month. I said that in Chicago. I was like, I don't even remember what it feels like to be in studio and do a show, because famously I left before, like you guys did a show before me or after me, because I went to fucking Canada.
That is very, very true. Well, we got a loaded show. We got a loaded week. Pete, why don't you tell the folks what's on this particular program?
I would love to, Dave. Today on the show, it was a golden night for USA Hockey. We're going to talk a lot about the World Juniors, a little bit of winners and losers. Frank changes the NHL. Frank Vatrano signed a contract extension yesterday, and it is bonkers. It has made him the Shohei Ohtani of the NHL, so we'll talk about that. And is that funny? Says Leon Draisaitl. Leon Draisaitl had a little pissy moment, and it was very funny.
Asking the tough questions. Is that funny?
He really is. And finally, giving up the sticks. That is in relation to me quitting NHL 25 over the weekend. It was a very bad weekend for me on the sticks. We will talk to No Sleeves, Cam Halbert, our dear, dear gaming friend, at the end of today's show.
So is that confirmed? It is given up? We'll get to it, but
We'll get to it, but partially. I'm quitting certain aspects of the game.
so like you're like skipping the like loading pages.
I would
You're, like,
love
just-
to.
You're not picking
Would love
uniforms
to do
anymore?
that. Yes. Yeah.
Those are the only parts of video games that I understand. The USA has won the World Junior Championship for the second year in a row. They beat Finland, for the second year in a row, period. They beat Finland 4-3 in overtime on a Teddy Stiga breakaway goal. Back-to-back champions, USA. Came back from down 3-1 in the second period. I'm dumb about this. I haven't been doing much non-DFSing, if you catch my drift.
Mm-hmm.
Are you allowed to non-DFS on World Juniors?
Not on FanDuel.
Like traditional books?
No, you can, but you can only, from what I gathered on FanDuel, you could only bet on like the outright winner of the tournament.
Oh,
like, it was
okay.
one of those things where if they had a live bet option, oh my God, down 2-1 in the second period, would have hammered that. We were on the text chain saying like, if they were down 3-1. So
they were down 3-1, yeah.
I would have hammered that. I was like, if they get a goal before the end of this second period, they are absolutely winning the game. And then they tied it up before the end of the second period. Like, there was no doubt in my mind that they were going to win that game. We're going to get to winners and losers, but I'll spoil it right now. Parity is a loser for me because I just was not worried about USA losing this tournament at all throughout this tournament.
There was like 21 seconds left after they tied it. And I seriously was like, Finland, get out of this period, boys. Just like, don't be down multiple goals in the next 20 seconds and you have a chance in this game. I got Rimpinen The goalie?
Yeah.
I love that guy.
Dog.
He's built like Pete. And I looked up, I was like, is this guy going to get drafted? And all things were like, no, he's too short. And I was like, nah, draft him.
Exactly.
Dog.
He was an absolute dog. He was maybe like the MVP of the tournament.
Tim Howard versus Belgium Energy.
Yes.
It was the gold medal game was a tale of two halves because Finland was so much better in the first half of that game. The USA looked slow. They looked tired. They were like a step behind. I guess I lied like 5 minutes ago when I said I was never worried. The first half of that game was the first time that I was worried that USA maybe wouldn't win gold.
I don't know if I was where I did give an oh damn that radiated across the apartment when Finland went up 3-1. That was like they could lose. I still don't really think they're going to, but they could lose. Crazier things have happened leading up to January 6th.
That's right. Ice was tilted in the second period. And then once the USA started controlling, I was like, all right, they're going to win this game. So
our guy, Ryan Leonard, we have to do like a whole ass conversation on Ryan Leonard because I want to give credit where credit is due. First, we'll say that he was named MVP of this tournament. I disagree with it, but I'm very, very happy about it.
I think it's fair. Like it's not undeserving.
Right. He's kind of maybe getting back to the Kaprizov thing of like he deserves this, but other people deserve it more.
Who would you have thrown in there? Hudson?
Cole Hudson.
Okay. Yeah, I think that Cole Hudson would probably have been my pick. I wouldn't have had an issue if it was Zeev Buium either. Like, he didn't have the points, but any of those three guys, I think, is totally fair.
Zeev Buium rocks, and he's one of two guys. Well, this will probably come up in the winners and losers, but like losers, people who did not draft Zeev Buium or Cole Eiserman when people were like, this guy's falling, right? This guy's,
So the Zeev Buium discussion when he was falling was like a little annoying to me because they were like, he just wins everywhere. And I'm like, plays on good teams. He's a very good player, but like he plays on a bunch of good teams too. But I also think that Zeev Buium, now I'm willing to say it, that guy's a winner.
Okay, well, Ryan Leonard, and I'll give a little peek behind the curtain. Friend of the show, Ryan Leonard. I want to kind of give you the floor because if I'm reading this correctly, and now Ryan Leonard is a household name, and he's been a household name among hockey fans for a minute, but I remember you last year, still in the World Juniors, so you could say whatever, it was in the World Juniors. People like, I feel like Ryan Leonard is your Draisaitl, where from a young age, you are standing outside the house with the key, and you are like, sir, if you want to, I am opening this place up wide to you to be my favorite player. Will you do me that honor? I am choosing you as my actual favorite hockey player. Can you do it?
Yeah, I mean, that's a perfect way to sum it up because I don't know the last time I've seen a guy who I was like positive was going to be my favorite player before he entered the NHL. And the only time that it's even come close in like the junior ranks or like the college ranks, I guess amateur ranks, Johnny Gaudreau. And Johnny Gaudreau, when he was at BC, just because he was like smaller and was like electric and was from Boston or like from locally playing in Boston, I was like, that guy is probably going to be my favorite player. And it didn't really happen at the NHL ranks. I love Johnny Gaudreau as a player, but it didn't really translate. I feel like it could absolutely translate with Ryan Leonard, where he absolutely and probably will be my favorite player once he hits the NHL. He's my favorite amateur player in years. I just love like his compete level. I love the type of player he is, like the prototype. You saw it throughout this entire tournament. He's just a fucking dog and just like a junkyard dog and was the absolute leader of this team, captain, showed up every game and drove that top line. He is just the best.
And he's going to the Capitals, and that is such a fun situation.
Yeah.
Like
the Capitals right now, just like Caps fans have to be having the time of their lives. Ovechkin goal chase, and we'll get to that.
23 away.
Fucking killing it. Still could happen this season even after he broke his leg. Outrageous. Caps, very good team after they look like maybe the window is closing. And now you just had the World Juniors, and two of the best players on the gold medal team are your property with Ryan Leonard and Cole Hudson.
Absolute studs. Like maybe people's two favorite players. And when I say like Ryan Leonard was tied for 5th in points in the tournament, it's because Cole Hudson and 3 other people, I should say, had 11 points. Leonard had 10.
Oh boy.
So like
Loser.
Right there. No. I mean,
I know. I'm
they've
joking.
got some absolute studs coming to complement with an E, folks. This very, very fun team they have right now. So we thought that maybe he'd make the jump at the end of last year. He'll do it this year. It will be.
He could have done it at the end of last year.
Yeah.
Like that was the thing. People were talking about Will Smith, some of the other BC guys. I was like, Ryan Leonard is the guy that I'm looking at, and when the Caps make the playoffs, he is going to be a part of that playoff run.
Yeah, so okay, let's jump into winners and losers of this tournament. I will say first and foremost, us watching the first round of the NHL postseason.
Oh, yeah.
Because the Capitals already, we're invested in them because we're like, what's this going to be? But now, how is this team going to fare in the postseason? And you're adding an absolute stud, maybe the most since Charlie McAvoy, that a guy jumped in the first round of the playoffs for their NHL debut, essentially. And you're like, this could potentially be a series changer.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, I mean, like it's
Bruins famously lost, but
no, it's like you're going. You know that you automatically have like a trade deadline acquisition that is going to make you a stronger team, reinforced for the playoffs. That's awesome.
Yeah. Who else you got for winners?
Zeev Buium, we already mentioned. Like he was just. It's hard to say like the most important player on the. It is easy to say he was the most important player on their blue line, and I think Cole Hudson was like the most electrifying and maybe most surprising. But Zeev Buium was like held it down, led them in ice time. Again, all he does is win. Big tournament for Zeev Buium, and I have Freebird. Freebird, massive winner of this tournament because I have not been able to stop thinking about Freebird as a goal song over like the last week and a half.
Sean, you're a young boy. What's your relationship with Freebird? Does it matter to you and people your age?
Is it as a meme, basically? Yeah.
It's a meme?
Oh,
yeah.
It was hey, Pete, that's okay. It was a meme for us.
Really?
Yeah. I mean,
well, what, play Freebird?
Yeah, yelling
okay.
Freebird at concerts and everything. Like that was a meme before we had that word.
I would guarantee you most of those kids don't know the words to Freebird. Like they know the Freebird part, but they don't know the song.
I think it might have been Hudson who said, "I'll admit I'd never heard that song before. Didn't know what it was."
That's crazy.
I know every word to it now.
I didn't. I don't know Freebird again, like as like the whole song. I know it as like the meme chunk of it, more or less.
I do like though that they were willing to go there as like that generation, as like that could be seen as a basic pick. Where you'd be like, oh, we don't want to come off the basic. But they said they were sitting around and like they played Freebird and they were like, let's just do the solo part. That is super cool.
I will say, I feel like the Four Nations Team USA they got to keep it rolling now.
I don't know though, because like, it comes down to like a debate. Like, do you want to like make your own thing?
No, it's because I saw people tweeting it last night. It's a new national anthem. Like that's just the song. That's the U.S. hockey song.
Can I make one little request, little note thing I would have changed on that?
What?
Even though Lord knows I can't change. For the golden goal, and you can't, people have bigger fish to fry, but at intermission, they should have said, hey, to whoever is playing the music up in here, Mr. PA, Mr. DJ man, when we score that golden goal, you're not playing the solo, you're playing the like main slide guitar part.
No.
It's slow, it's grand. That's like a We Are the Champions type of thing.
I guarantee you most of them would have been like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, people have been like, oh, it's a different song.
Yeah,
this
exactly.
is cool too.
The
But
slow part after you literally win the gold medal would be crazy.
We Are the Champions.
Yeah, I mean, I get it, but what they should have done is when they were raising the American flag up to the rafters.
Yeah.
They should have just done the whole song.
That's what I was
9
gonna say.
minutes.
We Are the Champions is not a song you play the moment you win. It's the song you play as you're skating around, handing around the trophy.
That's true.
Yeah,
so it
would have been such a power move to replace the national anthem with Freebird and make Finland watch the thing get raised the slowest it's ever been raised for 9 minutes.
I got to say, stonks up, winners, Finland. You're not supposed to win that tournament. Got silver, winner.
Yeah, I mean, like,
Rimpinen.
Yeah, absolutely.
My guy.
That guy was a dog. Absolutely. Like, felt kind of bad for
Hockey
him.
Pete. Love him.
He absolutely killed it throughout the entire tournament, and especially in the gold medal game. He was so good.
Okay. Give me some losers.
Oh, I feel like you can't get through the winners without mentioning Latvia.
Yeah, the
yeah.
Latvian goaltender,
Yep.
specifically
Fucking shit up.
Feldberg's nasty. If we're going around outside of the USA too, like Jakob Stancil, very good, the winger in Czechia. Victor Eklund and Axel Sandin Pellikka, both like the absolute studs from Sweden. Those guys were great. And then like to round it out, like David Carl, obviously, has won 4 championships in the last 4 years, 2 at Denver, back-to-back World Juniors. Nobody is hotter on the streets than David Carl.
Didn't lose to UNLV.
Didn't lose to UNLV,
the rest of
right?
Denver, but did lose to Arizona State Sun Devils. Just want to throw that out there.
I did hear about that.
And I was gonna say you texted last night about the Sabres prospect. Costas
Hellenius.
Hellenius, yes.
Good.
And I can never remember how many consonants are in his first name.
Yeah.
But
It's
the
tough
dog.
when his name is basically consonant.
yeah, exactly.
Costas Hellenius.
Yes.
Stud.
Rabel, yeah. And then Teddy Stiga, first goal of the tournament, but gets the most important goal of the tournament, and now gets to just say that for the rest of his life, I scored an overtime gold medal winning goal at the World Juniors. What an incredible, incredible moment.
Fantastic. And we can, this isn't a winner or a loser, but it is just a question I have. How do you feel about 3-on-3 in a gold medal game? Because I almost died. I was watching it and thinking of how stressful playoff overtime is. Imagine if, because this is the same thing. It's playoffs. It's like the stakes are even higher. This is for a title. Imagine if you were watching even a first round NHL playoff game and it was 3-on-3. You would die. It would actually kill you.
Yeah, because you can't really enjoy any of the offensive chances
you can't breathe.
have. You can't enjoy any of the offensive chances you have because you know that if you miss, it's going the other way and you might lose. I love 3-on-3. I'm so glad it exists. I don't want it to go anywhere. It should not exist in games with stakes.
Yes, I agree. Yeah, you cannot have high stakes 3-on-3.
I have always had the firmly held belief, this mostly comes from baseball, but that when it comes to playoff sports, it should be the purest version of the sport possible.
100%.
There should be no ghost runners. There should be no 3-on-3. There should be no any of the weird shit that you do mainly to speed up the regular season should not be happening in the playoffs. It should take as long as it needs to.
I've been making this analogy a lot, so I apologize. But like the final battle should be fists. It should not be, you should not be adding in any wrinkles. It should be, as Sean said, the purest form. The like me
you're
hockey
saying, like, no weapons
against you hockey.
Like you don't get a gun.
Whoever wins hockey wins.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, at least though, we're not talking about a shootout because the bronze medal game decided in a shootout, which is like the least palatable thing in the entire world.
I disagree. There was this one shootout in the Olympics where this one guy on USA,
Don't know if you've heard of him.
went a bunch of guys at times in a row. I want to say his name was like TJ Brody. He was so
it's a
good.
round robin game.
He was so it was
And he was
sick.
going up against, that was against Ovi, right? That was Ovi was the guy that they kept, because it was
I
against the
want to say
Russians,
it was
wasn't
Kovalchuk.
Oh,
Was it?
yeah, it might
May
have
been I think it was Kovalchuk.
Mm.
But
it was against
Chat
the Russians,
confirms
though.
it was TJ Brody. Thank you.
Yes.
that part is cool. Like they should in shootouts, the NHL has to adopt like have 3 shooters, and then after 3, choose whoever you want, run them back out there as much as you want. Like the bronze medal shootout went to, I want to say like 13 rounds. There was guys on Czechia that were like 0 for 4. It's hilarious.
Yeah, it's tough. You can't do that just for embarrassment's sake. Sean, could you put up the picture of the USA players? Because I don't believe Pete has seen this meme, and it's the best. It is a picture of the BC players. You got Hagens, Leonard, and then on the left is that
Gabe Perreault.
Yeah. Okay. It says they all have the same one strand of hair sticking up. They're all like hockey Teletubbies. That rules.
That is.
They all kind of do look the same.
They do look the same. That it's
You white, you
specifically
Ben Affleck.
White guy with that hair. Like that's what USA hockey is. Yeah, chat saying it was Datsuk.
Oh, it was okay. So
Of course
that's,
it was. Yeah.
That's all. Like
I
maybe
think
they should do
I think
that.
Kovalchuk got like 1 or 2.
Yeah, I mean, I think it must have been those 3 then.
Yeah, they
Like
didn't.
those
They
3
didn't
and
run
then-
out the same guy over and over and over. Penny, what are you doing here? What's going on here?
Wait, he only went for no, because typically when Kovalchuk only goes a couple of times, then he goes to Russia. He was already in.
He was
Russia.
already in Russia. That's
So
right.
are you sure? We'll have to double check that. What are the stakes for Four Nations now?
For Canada,
Does this affect?
Yeah, it affects
Yes.
Canada for
It
sure.
affects Canada so much, and I mean, people in my mentions, I'm sure they were crazy in your mentions, being like, "Don't," because any little joke that you make about Canada, like this has no bearing over. Connor Bedard could have been here. Macklin Celebrini could have been here. Blah blah. It's like, he wasn't, and Canada lost. Obviously, Canada has a ton of talent in the junior ranks, and of course in the NHL.
I'd love to see it.
I'm just saying.
I'd love to see that talent that everybody's.
Oh, right. I mean, Canada also chose to not have all that talent. So nice job there. But I feel like even if you didn't care about Four Nations and you're from Canada, you do now. Even if you don't watch it, you don't want Canada to not medal at World Juniors and then not dominate at the NHL adult level.
Yeah, but I mean, like, you already know that, like, no matter what happens in Four Nation, the team that loses or the team that comes away as like a disappointment, the reaction is just gonna be, well, it doesn't really matter. It's not a real tournament. This is a gimmick. Which, sure, but especially if you're Canada, you need to see something that makes us assholes become a little bit less of assholes about how things are going in terms of international play.
Yeah, I think this just adds stakes. For USA, would it feel like gravy or a cherry on top? Like, I've always been into this tournament. And
Four Nations?
Yes, and different people have different reads on it or whatever. I think that we've just been inspired by the season that Zach Werenski's having. That we're like, we get to see Zach Werenski dominate on Team USA. This is going to be amazing. There's a lot of stuff to like about this tournament. If you're Canadian now, even if you didn't care, you have to care now.
You have to care.
You can't.
You can't lose every international tournament and say that you don't care. It's just not. It's not how it works. You guys suck. It's got to win something.
Canadians are jokes. I love it. Quick number crunch. Fascinating Olympic shootout here. So for the it was Bob versus Quick in net, and then the Americans went Oshie, JVR, Joe Pavelski, and then Oshie. The Russians went Malkin, Datsuk, Kovalchuk, and then Datsuk.
Oh, they went Datsuk the whole time?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Let me double check. I don't know if they went the full no, excuse me. They went Kovalchuk the full time.
They did. Oh, they did go Kovalchuk the full time.
I
thought they rotated back a few times.
I think you're right. Yeah, I think they did go back between Datsuk and Kovalchuk.
That is,
but the Americans obviously
losing a shootout with Datsuk, Kovalchuk, and Malkin is embarrassing.
versus Van Riemsdyk, Pavelski, and TJ Oshie.
What I love JVR, but what did he just like jump into the net?
I can rewatch it.
Right? He was just waiting by the post, left the puck at mid ice. Was like, is somebody going to get that?
This is one of my favorite players, but I mean, is that lineup not the like Three Dragons meme?
Yes.
I love my guy. Got a JVR jersey right over there, and I've also got some Bauer skates. You know, they present this podcast. Nothing beats the sound of fresh steel cutting through the ice. Now you can hear that every time after getting a fresh buzz with the Pro Sharp Bauer Advantage skate sharpener. Perfect for all hockey players, families, or teams, this sharpener is fully automated and extremely easy to use, so you can get perfect edges anytime, anywhere, as long as you're plugged into power. And with built-in goalie skate modes, even your tendy can stay sharp. To learn more about the Pro Sharp Bauer Advantage skate sharpener, or to see where you can find it in stores, head to bauer.com/ProSharp.
JVR did nothing special. He went basically straight towards his right side, and then got to the dot and just tried to fire it low glove side, and it got saved.
Love.
Tough scene.
Somebody said JVR tried to tip it in. Just front, like,
The lights were too bright for JVR in that moment. He could have used
Shook
a
his
pair of
ass.
Shady Rays because Shady Rays is the independent sunglasses company that offers a world-class product rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people. Their shades have durable frames and crystal clear optics, making them the perfect choice for all outdoor adventures. Or if you want to be a cool guy who wears sunglasses inside, you can do that too. They have hundreds of options to choose from, so you're bound to find the perfect pair to match your style. They probably have a style that matches your team's favorite colors, or just like the cool little style that you want to accessorize with. We wear Shady Rays. We love them. We also love their lost or broken replacement policy and also their return policy. Return worry-free within 30 days if you don't like them, and there's no risk when you shop. Their team always has you covered with personal and fast customer support. So exclusively for our listeners, Shady Rays is giving out their best deal of the season. Head to shadyrays.com and use code AC35 for 35% off polarized sunglasses. Try for yourself the shades rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people.
Something fascinating in the NHL happened yesterday, which is the Ducks guaranteed they're going to win a Stanley Cup at some point in the next 3 years, right? They extended Frank Vatrano. They put it out. It was at first announced by Frank Vatrano.
It was. And like in a video, a little pretty like lengthy 40-second video. And at the end, he just really buried the lead. At the end, he was like, I'm staying.
Therefore, I will play hockey for you for the next 3 years.
Yes.
We can do this. Yes. Very nice. This is a fascinating contract. It's innovative. You've seen probably insiders like when they tweeted the details of it being like, this is kind of a new one. So it's a 3-year, $18 million contract, which normally, because Frank Vatrano is 30, not 35, this should just be a straight $6 million cap hit. It is not. It is a $4.57 million cap hit because starting in 2035, Vatrano is going to have $9 million in deferred payments. He's going to make $900,000 a year for 10 years. He will not be living in California at this point, and he will be retired from hockey. So he'll be, let's say hypothetically, if he's living in Florida or something, he's not going to get that state income tax of California. And I did a lot of digging on this because this whole thing fascinates me. It looks like it's the Ohtani thing.
Yeah, a much smaller
It's
number,
the Ohtani thing with smaller numbers. And I dug, asked questions. Here's what I got. Vatrano scored 37 goals last year. Mm-hmm. Off to not a great start this year. I think he has 9 goals nearly halfway through the season. Maybe 9, 10, something like that. Anyway, he's on pace for 19-ish goals. He wanted to stay in California, wanted to stay with the Ducks, I should say.
11 goals.
11 goals. Don't let him get
12
hot.
Assists.
Sorry to disrespect.
Our guy. The Ducks want to keep him, but they were offering in the low 4s. And Vatrano, coming off a 37-goal season, even not having a great season this year, is like, I shouldn't be getting in the low 4s. Wanted somewhere in the 5s. Pat Verbeek studied the Ohtani deal and was like, why don't we do the Ohtani deal? Something like that. We'll defer payments. He'll have a lower cap hit, something in the 4s that we can do, and then he's going to make up all that money on the back end. This hasn't been done in the NHL. If anything, the thing that's been interesting about deals in recent years is just like it's all been done in signing bonuses.
Yeah.
And that's going to happen for Igor Shesterkin and respectfully the best players in the league. But what about a guy who's 30, had an awesome year last year, isn't having an awesome year this year, is on, I don't know what this is probably his 4th or 5th contract or something like that.
All I'm hearing from you right now is to boil it down. These damn kids, they want their money right now.
Yeah.
They want that instant gratification. The signing bonuses, give them the money right now. No. Frankie, he's older. He's smarter. He says, give it to me later.
I thought that was Lazarus in the chat. Insider Brett says Vatrano had 2 goals last night.
And an assist, 3.9.
Oh.
I believe he's been kind of cold recently too, Sean, if you could check.
No goal. He had 4 goalless games before that. Oh boy.
I think he had 8.
He had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 straight goalless games. But the game immediately before those 8 straight games was another 2-goal, 1 assist, 3-point night.
Maybe he's just got that Marty Necas disease. He saves his best hockey for right after he signs his deal.
Yeah.
You want good hockey? pay me.
Yeah, that's right.
I could.
That's good business by an athlete.
I believe is it Ray Romano or who's the Will Arnett in The Office, where he's like, I have an idea about how to make your business very profitable. And they're like, great. In a job interview, they're like, what is it? And he's like, I can't tell you. You have to hire me, and then I'll do the idea.
Oh, that's yeah. I think that's The Office.
Yeah, Will Arnett.
Yeah.
And he's like, I can't just.
Yeah.
I can't
give away all my secrets.
I think Ray Romano's thing was he cared a lot about like lunch breaks,
snacks,
and like eating sandwiches, brought sandwiches from home. Anyway, so Verbeek had studied and Jeff Solomon had studied the Ohtani deal and was like, let's do something like this. Peter Fish, longtime agent of Frank Vatrano, and Peter Donatelli brought it to their like money and finances guy, and they were like, is this smart for Frank to do? Like I was like, oh, yeah, absolutely. So long story short, they hammer out this thing that went from he was going to be making in the 4s or he wanted to make in the 5s to he's getting $18 million. And because he's going to be getting that money when he's not going to be living in California, it takes the deal from, I think, like $13.8 million to him getting $18 million. So very, very interesting stuff just because this is a contract we don't see. We're not super smart about all this. I guess my question is, how do you think the NHL feels about this? And how do you feel about it as an NHL fan, knowing that when something is done, not hard cappy, MLB has luxury tax, everything, does not have a hard cap. The NHL is we have a hard cap. You do not skirt the rules unless, you know.
Yeah, I think that's maybe the reason why the NHL would not like this deal is just because I feel like they like to approach the cap pretty straightforward, where it's like hard cap, divide the final number by the number of years. That's the AAV. That's what is applied to the salary cap. It's very easy to follow most of the time. Whereas like some of these other sports, like football with the restructuring of contracts, like every single year.
Basketball, I have no idea.
No idea. Like bird rights, like fucking, I can't keep track of all the weird shit going on with basketball contracts. So I hope that it doesn't get too weird with the NHL. But I also know that like over the past couple of years, there's been a lot of talk about like, how do you counteract the advantage that no state income tax states get with, like, you know, Florida is Nashville, Dallas, like those teams have a competitive advantage when their guys aren't getting money taken out of their pockets. So I think it's going to be a CBA thing where like that is going to be a big talking point for the next CBA negotiations is how do you level the playing field with the state income tax and that factor. And maybe it's something like this. I don't know. Like you said, we're not that smart, but I don't think it's inherently bad. That's for sure.
Yeah. When I was digging around on this, I asked, would this have happened? And I know the answer, but like, would this have happened if all things were equal state income tax wise, or if the NHL had some sort of thing that leveled the playing field? And they were like, well, no, like this is what started this conversation, which is Frank loves Anaheim, wants to stay there, wants to make X amount of money. You don't want to give him, you don't want him to, you don't want to pay him what will net him this much. But if he's making this money in 10 years with inflation and everything, and he's not getting the state income tax, then we can do this. And that ends up being a win-win for both sides. But yeah, I think, and further to the thing that you said on like Nashville and Florida, they also can use that negotiating to their advantage where they can offer players less. Not even saying like, hey, I know that a team is offering you, say, $5 million a year in California. We'll offer you $5 million a year here, and you're going to choose us over them. They can just undercut you and say, like, hey, we'll pay you X amount, and it's a lot less on our cap, but you'll still make a little bit more. So that team ends up kind of getting to double dip there, where they're taking advantage of the other team, and they're taking advantage of the player. So September 2026 is when the new CBA, or is when the CBA is up. I wonder if we see much more of these deals in between now and then that leads to that. But again, as I said before, not every player is going to want to do this deal anyway. Yeah. Like
I mean, my personality wise, at least my brain, like I'd be like, I could die tomorrow. Give me my money now. Let me enjoy it now. But that's just like the way my brain works. It seems like Frank Vatrano is like, I need to be set long term. And that's smart.
Chat asking, we won't do hit chat, but we'll do state income tax chat. Correct. Sean, thoughts on that?
I was going to say, I mean, the recent history in the NHL is kind of an exception to this, but generally speaking, I don't feel like there's a whole lot of evidence in pro sports to suggest that the tax difference actually gives teams competitive advantages. Like, I get that Florida just won a cup and the Lightning won a couple, but sports at large, it's not like these, like, the Texas basketball teams haven't done shit in the last decade. Neither have the Florida basketball teams. Heat got close, obviously, but like, still, I mean, football,
Bucks.
Yeah, you had Tampa, but I mean, was that a real? That's because they signed the greatest quarterback in history.
You're also talking about sports in which like the sixth man gets fucking like $30 million a year,
right?
And we're talking about like the best players in hockey.
Yeah, I get that it's a little bit of an apples to oranges thing. I was just saying in general, and also complete side note, it is ridiculous to me that in the NBA, media voted upon awards dictate how much money a player can make.
Don't get me started.
Like the Supermax thing being all pro. Most absurd thing I have seen in pro sports with the way contracts work, but that's a completely
especially when players are getting in fights with media.
Exactly, it's such like a
especially
personal
the sport that's
thing.
like the biggest soap opera sport in the world. A media member could hamstring a player financially
by like millions of dollars, like ruin their life.
Incredible.
Well, this bears watching. It's very tidy work and very interesting stuff, and we'll see if eventually in the next CBA we get a Frank Vatrano rule. We already have a Mark Savard rule. Get a Frank Vatrano rule.
Frank's legacy on the up.
Typically when I say Frank Vatrano rule, I'm tossing an S at the end.
As someone pointed out, like the deferred money with the Penguins and stuff, it's like I think from a competitive balance standpoint, people are like, this is unfair, especially with the Dodgers. Like everyone was like, this is unfair. That team is going to be bankrupt in 10 years. Like they are probably going to have to end up selling the team because they're going to owe $1 billion to one guy at one time. Like it is not, seems unfair in the moment, but in the end, I think it will all balance itself out.
Kelly in the chat says, Frank better not ever call 911 in California.
Dark.
I mean,
can't complain about the roads now, brother.
I feel like he's living in the right. I feel like he's the kind of guy that 911 comes fast for.
It would be kind of hilarious if Ducks fans just turned on Frank Vatrano for
like eat the rich.
Yeah,
taking money away from the state.
I did see some discourse about that yesterday on Twitter. It was like, guys, we shouldn't be celebrating tax evasion. And
yeah, you should.
Yeah, and someone was like, yeah, because they always nail the spending with those tax dollars. Nah.
Yes.
Shout out Frank Vatrano. I want to get to something very interesting that I saw over the weekend. Pete, Sean, if you could throw up a tweet from Pete Blackburn on video games. It's usually what I care about. He tweeted, I just don't think I can play NHL 25 anymore. Second straight year, I've had to quit the current game. Maybe I suck, but it doesn't feel like it. I just can't see. It's far away. Rewards the right things and only makes me want to jump out of a window. That is how most of Pete's tweets. And that's interesting to me. I want Pete to explain that, but Pete, don't just explain it to me. Explain it to our guy, Cam Halbert, a.k.a. Sleeveless Gaming. Let's bring him in. You know him from YouTube, from everywhere. Niagara Ice Dogs, the whole shebang. He is our NHL 25 guru. How are you, buddy?
I'm doing well. How are you guys doing? A really eventful holidays for you guys, I saw, as your travels picked up.
Oh, yeah. Chicago was a grand old time. The game stunk, but we had a wonderful time at Wrigley and wonderful time in Chicago. Always the best. And then I came home and played NHL and wanted to kill myself. So, yeah.
Explain. I need you to start at the top. What's going on, baby boy?
Friday, I had a big free day, and I was like, hell yes, I'm going to get to play video games with all my pals. I'm going to play NHL 25. We're going to run EA SHL. It's going to be such a lovely night, a nice camaraderie for the boys. We got like 4 games in, and we're just screaming. The vibes were so bad. We were dominating teams and losing 4-1 because that game absolutely sucks and only rewards players who just cheese all over the place. It has the dumbest goals in the world. Tell me, am I a bitch? Am I a bitch for hating this game and putting myself in this position year after year? Is it a skill difference, or does this game actually still suck this much?
So when were you mad? When you got scored on and didn't win? Like, what was is that what made, like, you could play ESHL, especially if you're with the right group, and not win and have a good time, but it just wasn't happening in this instance?
We were playing. We were having a good time. Like, we were dominating games. Minutes upon minutes of offensive zone time, cycling the puck around, really, really working together like a true skilled hockey team. And then you give the puck away one time, and a guy skates down who's a max level, who's probably 13 years old, and just rips from 25 feet away along the boards and beats your goaltender who has his thumb up his ass, and we lose 3-1. That happens every game.
It's tough, man. I think that we I've come on and we've talked about this in the past, that like, the sports games specifically are very subjective, and I think the hockey video game is the most, because like, if you're trying to replicate a sport that involves so much luck in a video game, just makes it like, it's a recipe where you will never make everyone happy, right? Like, there are things that need to be fixed in this game, and I think the overall, one of the things that when I talk about with people that just simply hate this iteration of the game, is that it looks like they're going far more arcadey. Like, the X factors and the one-timers, you get this big green beam lights up when you get a good one-timer, and that's really the end-all be-all goal right now. But that being said, like, I just think that it's far different than what it was in the past. But I don't blame you, man. I mean, it stinks, but what do you think would make you enjoy it more?
I think that
skill
they
issue.
need.
I love that.
This chat is just hammering me with skill issue comments, which very funny.
Is that Wubs? Hang on one second. Wubs with the change of heart Yu-Gi-Oh card YouTube icon. That's an all-time play, by the way. Anyway, sorry, continue.
I know that the EA Sports has limited resources to make this game, but basically what needs to happen with NHL 25 or 26 and beyond, they need to split the game down the middle, and they need to essentially create 2 different versions of the game. They need to create the arcade version for those people who want to play like that fast-paced, like arcadey style,
all the
and
abilities.
let them have their own little like world of online where they can do all that dumb shit, and then also make a game that is like realistic and authentic and rewards actual approaches to hockey. That's what I need.
What's funny? I've said this a couple of times over the last few years, and one of the philosophies that changed, I think it was when the new team took over at NHL 23, was that they kind of made gameplay unified, where what I mean by that is how the game plays in HUT is how the game plays in ESHL. The dog looking at you is hilarious to me. And it's the same as in franchise mode as well. And that sounds good, because that means that when they want to make a gameplay change, it happens across the board. What was going on before was you had these like separate teams that just didn't need to interact. So the guys that would work on ESHL, they would work on ESHL, but they wouldn't work on HUT. And what ends up happening is that you kind of split your resources of gameplay developers. You mentioned that it is a smaller dev team. So I thought that in philosophy that would work when they made the change to kind of streamline everything. But I think more and more that I would love to see a way where they mess with sliders enough in individual game modes. So what happens in ESHL isn't what happens in Hockey Ultimate Team and in franchise mode. One of the biggest changes that happened a couple of years ago was when they made all of these changes, your CPUs would take penalties all the time. And that stopped happening, I believe, in like NHL 2021. And because you would play HUT or whatever mode and your CPU would take penalties. There's nothing more frustrating than that, because you're not controlling them, right? And that was because, and what happened in NHL 23 is they made franchise mode play the exact same as HUT. So you be in HUT, and because in franchise mode, your CPU can take penalties, and that's what ended up happening. They dialed that back, and I think that they do need to find a way to make it, if you want someone to play a completely sim-based game, for anyone that played the series a lot, like NHL 22, I think is the closest to a sim-based NHL game we'll ever get. But it wasn't for everybody. And it's tough in that aspect, but I'm with you. I think the bigger issue is that I don't know how they do that and separate things even more with the servers, and because you're limiting your player base even more. Right. Back when we were younger, right, you would match up, you play versus, and it was peer to peer. You could match anyone. And, if someone had a potato modem, you were both playing on it. So you were both at the same disadvantages. Right. You can't match up with someone out west. So now those West Coast players aren't in the player pool. So when you go to search for a game, it takes 25 minutes. Right. Imagine adding in like, I'm going to go play sim base. So now you've got maybe 40% going there. Right. So and that isn't me saying that that's okay. It just, that's the reality of the situation we're in. But I'm with you, man. I think that a sim-based game, as I'm getting older, man, the losses when I lose on stream and stuff like that, I'm just like, that's all right. And maybe that's just me being a loser now, or I'm older. I don't know what it is, but I just like,
maybe? No.
Yeah, it's a skill issue. I'm just like, I know I'm not as good.
I know that I shouldn't care, and I know that I shouldn't let it ruin my fucking night. But at the same time, like the older that I get, the less time I have for video games. So 100%. When I play the video game and it makes shut the fuck up, DJ.
I'm just like talking to Penny.
I thought you were just, I thought you were saying.
I thought you were playing the world's smallest violin, like he's yapping.
No, but he's on the podcast yapping again.
I have a limited amount of free time, and I really look forward to the nights when I get to spend with like my friends and we get to play, because it doesn't happen that much anymore. So when it happens and I come away with a bad taste in my mouth, or like I had a bad time, it really rubs me the wrong way. And it would be so easy for them to make a better game. It's just, that's what it really boils down to. I like the way that the game plays generally, but some of the things that it rewards drives me crazy. Let me ask you this, like, does the game reward like newer or worse players with stupid goals?
Ooh, that's interesting. Oh, you mean like there's something coded in the background that allows that?
Like, is there like a skill-based matchmaking type of thing for goaltending? Because I feel like when I play newer or lower level players, the goaltender on our team always fucking sucks.
Man, that's been a tinfoil hat theory for forever, that there's like like in racing games, there's rubber banding where like, the first place guy can't get so far ahead that you can't catch up. I would hope to God that there's not. I've never heard that there's, like ice tilt would be what it would be called. Would it surprise me? No, because we're in a world where video games are engineered like food, man. Like, do you want to go home after you've worked all day and get absolutely smoked? No, because then you're in the exact same situation you're in right now. You don't want to play the game anymore, right? But if you were to sit down after, work, and for 2 hours, you beat up on a team 15-0, by like that third game, you're like, So,
but sorry, I want to cut you off. I would be totally okay if me and my buddies logged on a Friday night and we got fucking wrecked 15-0 by a team that was so much better than us.
Yes,
yes. If they were good and they smoked us, I could have a good time with my buddies being like, damn, those kids were nasty. We are washed. It's what bothers me is that we play better and the game rewards stupid things.
Yeah, man, I wish that could be proven. It's like, it's so unfortunate because the way hockey is played, it's almost like if you were to design a hockey game, right, and you would have to code in luck. Like if you yourself were to make a video game, if you were trying to emulate the real sport, we can all agree that there is luck involved in hockey, probably more luck involved than any other sport, right? So when you're trying to make a ones and zeros game, luck has to be a part of it. But how do you code that in, and what does it look like? And then in a video game, who wants that? Because again, you sit down, if you set up shop for a one-timer, things wide open, you've done everything appropriately, and it doesn't go in because the game's like, nah, not on this one, you're frustrated because you're in control. And I don't know how they'll ever balance it. Because I don't know in the background. Would it surprise me if there is something that's going in there? No, not at all. But it wouldn't surprise me if it's been in there for 10 years and they just don't even know it's there. So, it's a tough, delicate balance. I'll be honest with you, man. I think that we talked about this like a couple times ago when the game was coming out. That I just think that sports games in general, you know how they have a year-long cycle, like their yearly games. I think they're 6-month cycles. And the other 6 months after the first 6 months of release is just the hardcores that are addicted. Yeah. And addiction in a video game looks far different than addiction to other things. But I just think that's what we're at. And I think that we're getting near the end of that 6 months, of people playing the game and then the sport comes in. But it's tough because what you did,
to be fair, though,
playing with your buddies in ESHL, that's what I would recommend. If I were to tell someone, hey, you want to have some fun playing NHL, get a couple buddies, which is hard to do sometimes, especially in our 30s. And you went and you did the right thing and you still didn't have fun. And that's concerning. But I wonder if you just got a bad night. I don't know how common it because it is.
Night, I'll tell you that for sure.
Yeah, and that's tough. Did you have a human control goalie or an AI goalie?
AI goalie. But
you got to get one more person.
Night, and I sent that, and a lot of the responses, and I'm not taking Twitter as gospel or whatever, but a lot of the responses were yeah, I quit 2-3 weeks ago. I quit a month ago. I can't do it anymore. So I'm absolutely not alone on an island here, but. It's, I'll probably end up playing again. Let's be fucking honest. It's just
we're addicted to hockey, dude.
Yeah, I love hockey.
You were saying that
exactly.
You were saying but it's the last place where you can say racist things in a headset.
Yeah. How else am I going to celebrate January 6th?
Yeah.
No.
So that's the last place you feel like you can do that. You said?
Yes, that's right.
No,
the 6 month cycle thing I think is true, but I also think there's an element of the hockey season and every other
all sports games go through this, man.
Yeah,
all of them go through it.
People watch hockey, people watch football, and they're like, "Oh, yep. I watch it. I want to go play it on the video game." So I think that there's a natural element to that. So I wouldn't necessarily blame that entirely on the game.
I think that the NHL suffers from something that other sports games don't, in that other sports games will make you want to watch the real thing, whereas I think playing the video game, it's in reverse, where if you're watching the sport, you want to play the video game. And I think that it's because you love the sport so much, not because you love the video game. Like MLB, I'll use MLB as an example. I don't play MLB as nearly as long a cycle as NHL because NHL is my job. But it made me fall in love with the Red Sox again. I am a 162er the last 2 years, all because of MLB The Show 2024, which was, not that great of a game, but it's widely considered by the player base. But, it's tough. I think that we're in a dark time for the NHL video game, and there's always been issues. I don't know how you ever get back to the early 2000s where it was winning Game of the Year and stuff. And part of me thinks that's because so few people could actually play hockey, and they, it wasn't as big in America. So you get this sport where you're literally skating on knives and you could just hit people through the boards, and there's all these over the top things. And now it's just kind of been figured out. Either about hockey very early, the whole world does it's on a much bigger stage. I just think that the novelty of this sport being insane has kind of just worn off, and the video game is, I don't know, it's trying to reinvent itself, and I don't know how you fix it. But like I said, when you experience a bad run of games, it's really rough. You can play Call of Duty and have a rough couple of games, but that eventually you'll have a good game because that's how skill-based matchmaking works. It'll bring you back up, but NHL has the tendency to you have a bad couple games, you're I'm not coming back.
Yeah. Yep.
So I play franchise mode, and that's it.
You're the best. We love you. I got to let you go because I got to go yell at the chat because Tessa is saying I found my echo chamber of skill issues. What the fuck? I'm getting absolutely destroyed. Yeah, we love you. I'm sure we'll have you back on to talk about my return to NHL to only want to jump out the window again.
Yeah, will any of these ever be good NHL EA conversations? I feel
no, we'll never have that, well, until Macklin Celebrini gets his Calder trophy card, which will happen.
Yes.
So.
All right. Well, we'll talk to you soon, my friend. Thanks for coming on. Always appreciate it, buddy.
No problem, boys. Have a good one.
Later. That's Cam Halbert, a.k.a. Sleeveless Gaming. You find him everywhere. He's our guy. And again, he also does stuff with the Niagara Ice Dogs, so I like the cut of his jib. Let's go around the NHL. Some stuff that happened. Leon Draisaitl is up to now, I believe, 29 goals. Yes, correct? 29 to lead the league.
It's his golden goal number.
Like
a golden
he's not going to
birthday.
score anymore.
He's not going to score anymore?
No.
He likes 29 too much.
Yep, at 29, 30 assists, 59 points on the year.
Damn. I believe that is second. He's like 6 behind McKinnon. Yeah. Boy, that top 3 in points, man. McKinnon, Draisaitl, Rantanen. Stop the count. I love that as a top 3 for points.
All teammate merchants.
That's true. No, you know who's 4th?
Not Kaprizov.
He scored against the
Kaprizov
Boston
is
Bruins
9th.
over the weekend.
Who?
Mitch Marner.
Oh, okay.
We got to do a Mitch Marner thing at some point
Why?
because he's either going to sign for way too much in Toronto, ruining Toronto, or Toronto, who is awesome this season, is going to lose Mitch Marner.
He still owes my friend Seth $20.
Does he?
He does.
Is your
So
friend
once he
Seth Jarvis?
No, Seth, my video game pal. Speaking of video games,
Seth Muzikowski. He's looking hot tonight.
Seth and I played in a tournament, a Call of Duty tournament with Mitch Marner, and he was on our team. He didn't give us $20 for his buy-in for the tournament, and so he owes us $20.
I am loving the top 10 in points even. It's McKinnon, Draisaitl, Rantanen, Marner, Kucherov, McDavid, Eichel, Kyle Connor, Kirill Kaprizov.
I don't like the stink that you should put on Kyle Connor's name.
No, I love that he's top 10 in points.
Same.
Cale Makar. Let's chill with the Avalanche. I kind of like if there's like 4 guys, 5, 6, 7 in the top 10, and the Avalanche miss the playoffs.
I mean, are the Avalanche the new Oilers, where like they
have some guys going off and then they just stink?
and then the rest of the team is just like, what are you doing? Yeah, I mean, I think the Avalanche are fascinating, man. They are a fascinating team. They got absolute world beaters at the top. The rest is kind of crazy, and then they've got like a little assholeness to them.
Well, while we're talking about how, and we'll get to Leon in a second, but while we're talking about how certain teams are doing, got to shout out the Canadians. They're hot right now.
Yeah.
Winners of 7 of 8. Absolutely. 7 of 9? 7 of 9, I think. But that's like 7 of 8 for real teams. Bless the Canadians. Awesome job. And the San Jose Sharks getting hot. They've won 2 games in a row.
Which team is better?
That's like winning 7 of 8.
Stanley Cup, Sharks, Canadians.
I would love a Stanley Cup. There should be like a kiddie pool.
I was gonna say the playoffs should have a fan vote. Like one of the matchups.
That's one of the
one of the matchups in the playoffs, or actually like a little bonus playoff round. You have your regular playoff bracket, and then fans should get to vote on like not even like a playing round, because like no matter who wins, they don't get to participate in the Stanley Cup playoffs.
No,
but
I would be fine if you dropped the 8 seed, the second wild card from them, and you had like the next 3 teams and a fan vote play a 4-team play in for that 8th spot.
No, they should have like they should have the 16 teams and then fan vote for a best of 7 series between 2 like fan favorite non-playoff teams, and they just make up some stupid trophy like the NBA Cup, and there's like a $3 million prize on the line to split for the players.
We didn't have enough time with Gary Bettman, but I really wanted to push for more fan votes with him. It had a great impact on the All-Star game last season. Bring it to the standings. I don't know, like that's a good way of doing it. Bring the fan vote to the standings.
Does it affect the draft lottery?
That's a discussion that I don't know if we had it last year, but I've had it over the past like handful of years. I would love to see some sort of like, I don't think it'll ever happen because you don't want guys getting injured with like the stakes being more lottery balls, but like a best of 3 series between like the 2 worst teams and the winner of that series getting extra lottery balls would be so funny.
I mean, it essentially accomplishes the same thing as the PWHL anti-tanking rules, where it's like you start getting points for wins once you're eliminated. it would force people to try hard. Although that puts you in a very weird position because then it's the end of the year and you have like a team full of guys who might not be on the roster next year fighting for their own replacement.
If you're anti-tanking, you know what team deserves to win the lottery?
The New England Patriots?
They don't deserve it.
I have to choose my words about the New England Patriots carefully today.
That's my team right there.
So mad at the
I've never been happier to watch the Buffalo Bills lose a football game.
I'm so mad.
But you know what's funny, Pete, though? Sean's laughing at you and the Patriots and everything. Sure, for losing that game, which granted, the Bills were allowed to try harder to lose that game. Nobody was going to be mad at the Bills for trying hard to lose that game. Some people-ish, like on the Patriots, would be mad if the Patriots actually tried to lose that game. Good for Gerard Mayo. And again, he's at a disadvantage because the Bills are better at everything than you. But they don't want you to get that first pick, so they're allowed to tank that game harder than you are.
And if you're Gerard Mayo, like if you have an inkling that you're going to be fired no matter what, why wouldn't you say, we're absolutely winning this game. I'm going to try my hardest to win this game to say fuck you to the franchise. If you're the Patriots, if you made the decision on Gerard Mayo, you cannot let him coach that game.
Also, I'll push back. I think if you're putting up the B teams, the Patriots are a better team than the Bills.
You think
Bills
so?
do not have that depth, and Joe Milton is a dog.
Joe Milton
is
significantly better than Michael Trubisky.
I know that the Patriots players aren't going to actively try to lose the game, but if you are coaching that team, you cannot allow them to be in a position to win that game.
Mayo did try, though. I mean, who knows? Maybe a weapon was put to his head, but he benched Drake May. Like, he did his part in putting the Patriots at a disadvantage. But yeah, here's what they were not counting on. Or actually, you know what? Gerard Mayo's a Tennessee guy. So maybe he was like, okay, gang, I'll help you lose this game. I'll start, I don't know. Or he didn't start him, but like, I'll play, I don't know, Joe Milton. Joe Milton's a stud, brother.
Stud.
No,
I've got so many takes on it that I don't feel like getting into right now.
But I'll just let me be on the record. Patriots, I would not have fired Gerard Mayo.
Like at all.
I mean,
you don't fire you don't. If I was going to, I would have obviously before that game. But you don't hire a coach a year, two, or like knowing like, hey, we're a little early on this guy. Like the Celtics could have fired Brad Stevens after 1 year when they were like, hey, we know we're doing this a little early. They gave him the worst roster in the NFL. Chris Gasper said this last night on TV, and I was screaming at the TV, yes, Christopher. What did people think 4-13 was going to look like?
Yeah, so I mean, like I think both things can be true. I think that he got a raw deal. They gave him 1 year at the helm with a really bad roster and expected him to do something more than that. But also, there were at points where he looked completely out of his depths, and like it wasn't.
Looked like he was a first-time head coach. Like looked like he didn't know how to handle certain situations. But like I don't think that he didn't have a good year. But again, what I'm not asking you. Like, what did people expect from a guy who's never been a head coach before? And before idiots say my least favorite 3 letters in the world, your new fun little buzzword. Okay.
Oh boy.
Coaches are hired who have not been coordinators to be head coaches all the time. It's happened a billion times. So people were in my mention saying like, oh, what if a white person was hired to be a head coach when he's never been an offensive or defensive coordinator? I don't know. Maybe be John Harbaugh and win the Super Bowl because that's what happened.
Marty St. Louis.
Yes, exactly.
Marty St. Louis. They just picked him off the street and they were like, hey, you want to coach the Canadians? He's like, sure.
So I don't think that my fellow Bostonians had a great day yesterday.
No, definitely not.
It was not the best.
I enjoyed it.
Fuck you, Sean.
Sean was. Where's the love of your life when we need them?
Should we get to?
I was gonna get to Leon.
Yeah.
And
weekend behavior.
Here was his. We're deep into weekend behavior.
Yeah.
Here's.
Oh no, that's bad. Sorry.
Here's Draisaitl post game with an amazing Leon Draisaitl interaction.
It felt like the momentum we would have it, and then turnover would happen, and then it would just be kind of back and forth. But that's mainly our line tonight, so mainly me. But is that funny? Yeah. Good for you. Yeah.
I love the guy who makes a joke and then says you're not allowed to laugh. And I sincerely do.
I don't
mean
think that was a
because
joke.
It's Leon Dry.
Yeah, I don't
That
think
wasn't a joke.
Yeah, I guess so. Well, yeah.
He was just like
If you were
taking
standing-
accountability.
Wouldn't you would laugh at that, right? though?
No, I don't think so.
I think I do like.
I don't think. I mean, I think knowing that it's Leon Draisaitl, I wouldn't laugh.
Yeah, you'd be scared.
I know that he's not. This guy's not here making jokes. So what's there to laugh at?
Like I wouldn't have been like, I wouldn't have been like, oh, super serious or whatever. But I don't know if I would have laughed at that just because it wasn't really a joke. He was taking accountability, and I'll tell you what. Like the second he flashed that smile when he said that funny, I would have like been like, oh my God, thank God, because it looked like he was going to kill him for 0.5 seconds.
No matter what, smile or no smile. So first of all, I am laughing, and then the second he says, "Is that funny?" I pee.
Yeah. That's basically what I was getting at. I would have pissed my pants.
Gary, actually, can you start the clip again? Let's see.
It felt like the momentum.
It's foreshadowing.
We would have it, and then turnover would happen, and then it would just be kind of back and forth. But that's mainly our line tonight. So mainly me.
I go, huh?
But is that funny?
And I pee.
Yeah, I don't think there was a joke being made there at all. Mainly me, and then someone laughs is kind of crazy.
Okay, I agree. He was not. Yes, we're doing piss chat again. I agree. Now he was not making a joke, but that is. I would have laughed. I would have taken it as like just a funny little comment or a cute little comment. Sometimes you go, if someone's being kind of cute, and
I think it depends on how much experience you have with Leon. Because if you're just like new there and you're like, oh, this is just like another hockey player, fine. But if you've experienced Leon, I think you should know better than to think that he's
looking
joking.
for any reason to be pissy.
Yeah, you know that Leon's not joking here.
But to be fair, things have gone so well for Leon this season. I'm happy that we were still able to get Leon has a little pissy moment with the media.
Yeah, Leon has, got paid, got benched, and since then, best player in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Unbelievable.
It's insane to me that like him, Kucherov, like they just get to take a 2-week break next month. Like all the best players in the world are going to be playing hockey, and they're just like, we're just going to rest for 2 weeks.
It's a really good point.
Sean, that is a great point because let's look at so McKinnon. Of the people in the top 10, McKinnon will be playing. Draisaitl, break. Rantanen?
We don't know McKinnon will be playing based off the way that Canada rolls out their top talent.
Yes, that's true. Any Canadian TBD. Marner, guaranteed playing. They want Marner. Kucherov, break. McDavid playing. Eichel playing. Connor playing. Kaprizov, break. Makar playing. So bad news for the Avalanche. It looks like they have awesome players and they're just going to stink this year, but we've already talked about that. That's a little secret weapon for your Edmonton Oilers there. And also, famously, Stu, not on the team.
True.
Zach Hyman, not on the team.
True.
Bouchard, not on the team.
That's right.
Jeff Skinner, not on the team.
Corey Perry.
Jeff Skinner might not be on the Oilers.
Jeff Skinner is showing glimpses of might be. By the way, I said if you're going to make him a fourth liner, don't even play him. Since then, Oilers have been like, you know what our fourth line is? Jeff Skinner, Adam Henrique, Corey Perry, and that line rocks.
That is such a ridiculous line.
Because that's a good third line, and they're just making it their fourth line.
Somebody tossed me this weekend the idea of Jeff Skinner being traded for Trent Frederick, which would make our guy Bob Stauffer very happy. They'd get a little bit more toughness in the lineup, and Bruins could get a score. The Bruins absolutely need some scoring help so bad.
Yeah. Kirill Marchenko he's famously not a podcast guy, not even a music guy, but he is an interview guy. Check him out.
Just tell us about that move.
Yeah, I fuck up a little bit. So. Sorry guys, but bad move. I tried to figure it out in the third.
All right, good luck in the third. Thanks for this.
Thank you guys. Thanks. Sorry.
Thank you guys. Thank you. Sorry.
I understood none of that except for the word fuck and then the word sorry.
Yeah.
I fucked that up and then was like, sorry.
But you could tell the rest of his answer. He's like, and then at the end, he's like, okay, yeah. Yes. It was very like Michael Cera-esque.
That's actually the best swearing in an interview is when they know they're not supposed to, they do it anyway, and then they just apologize.
Yeah.
It's better that way than like accidentally letting one slip and then being like
thrown off.
immediately sorry
Yeah.
and like regretful. I like when they're just like, I know I shouldn't do this, but I fucked up. I'm sorry.
Alex Ovechkin stays healthy, stays hot, 23 goals away. Gary, Wayne, pack your bags, boys. Gary noted, with how prolific he's been known to be, we got to start traveling once he gets close. Within 2 games, he gets like a couple of Ovech tricks. They're hitting the road.
I would love to see it. I'm sort of rooting for Ovechkin to get to within 5 as soon as possible, but then as soon as he gets within 5, he takes forever.
Cold.
Takes forever. Make Gary Bettman travel with Wayne Gretzky on the road for like 6 months.
But I needs to start with like a 4-goal night. So they're like, okay, we only got one more of these, and then 20-game goalless streak.
No, because then I'm going to have to watch every single game.
Yeah,
I'm going to have to watch the Caps every single night to see if he breaks the record. It would be funny if he got like within a couple, went super, super cold for like 20 games to finish the season, and then scored lights out in the playoffs, and none of that shit counts towards his goal total.
I mean, if he scores like 3 goals within the next 2 games or something, we are really looking at like it's happening this year.
Yeah.
And playoff stretch run of the regular season, teams fighting for playoff seeding while Ovechkin is going to break Gretzky's record will be awesome. The East can be as stupid as they want. I was looking at the various divisions yesterday, and I'm like, the Pacific rocks, and then you got a bunch of, it's the Dragon meme, except it's like Pacific Division, strong. With all due respect to the Central and the Atlantic, I guess, I'm just doing the one strong dragon and then 3 silly bitches.
I don't know.
It's the Pacific's world, man.
It is.
But even if the East is as silly as they were down the stretch last year, I'll be happy. If we're seeing teams jockey for playoff seeding while Ovechkin is going for the record, that would rock. Give it to me.
I think this Central's got a lot of like second tier.
Yeah, they're coming back
really
to
good
earth.
teams.
But we don't talk about the Knights nearly enough.
Yeah,
they are so
they're
the
awesome.
best team in the NHL.
They're awesome.
There have been some maybe like Minnesota, Winnipeg, obviously. There have been moments where we're like, damn, this is like a otherworldly season this team has had. The whole time we should have just known it's going to be Vegas, or it's like, I don't think Edmonton will catch them, but like it's going to be Vegas or one of those teams in the Pacific that we should have thought it would be. The Canucks are listening to offers for both JT Miller and Elias Pettersson. Elliot Friedman says, this is what I could tell in calling around. The Canucks definitely are looking at the market for both players. You should be prepared for all outcomes. There's really 3 of them. Neither gets dealt, one of them gets dealt, or both gets dealt. That's on the table. That third option, both leave, would be insane.
That was just a funny sentence. There's 3 options. No one moves, they both move, or one of them moves. That's just like
that's life.
That's math.
Are you just like, thanks?
Yeah, that's how that works.
Yeah, that's
Elliot's careful with
Those
those.
were like Leon Draisaitl and Connor McDavid.
didn't even think of that.
It's like
That's
they're either both going to stay, one of them's going to stay, or they're both going to leave.
covering all his bases.
It is. Isn't that very? It reminds me of another team, the Vancouver Canucks. Remember the goalie situation? It's gonna, man. They gotta trade Luongo. They gotta find a way to move Luongo. Luongo's gonna make it hard. He's gonna decline trades or whatever. Eventually, they flip Corey Schneider for a 1st-round pick, and you're like, damn, didn't see that coming. Okay, well then I guess it's Luongo. Where you trade Luongo? Holy shit! And then they're both gone.
Yeah.
Didn't see that coming. I'd love it if they move both of them. Wild.
I mean, it would be absolutely crazy. I don't know if I'm rooting for it, but it would definitely like pique my interest. And if you're gonna explore trading Elias Pettersson, which I don't know if they should. I don't think they're gonna get an unbelievable
You have to
return
do it
on
now.
it. You have to do it now because his no movement clause kicks in this upcoming summer. So, oh boy, hold on to your butts.
Sean, could you give me the ambassador to Greece chat? That is the best scenario.
What? Oh.
Trade them both to the same team.
Oh my God.
That would be incredible.
That would be fucking unbelievable.
Owen
Your
Power.
problem now.
Owen Power and Bo Byram, or any of the kids.
What if they traded
JT
them
Miller,
both
Elias
to the
Pettersson.
Buffalo Sabres? Oh my God. I would need so many of these things to be able to watch a game.
Who is the guy who was involved in the Ryan O'Reilly trade who just decided to retire instead of playing for the Sabres? Do you remember that? Or he went and played in like Europe or something. He was like, no, I'm not showing up to this team.
JT Miller and Elias Pettersson, you are Vegas Golden Knights.
I will say there's nothing to like fix the relationship by sending them both to Buffalo and being like, man, what the fuck? Like, this sucks for us, doesn't it?
Common enemy.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah.
Gives them a common enemy, their lives.
You're literally locking them in a room
It's
and being like, figure it out.
Huge, like, last men on earth.
Patrick
kind of
Berglund,
vibes.
that's who it was. Yeah. Berglund was like, yeah, I'm not playing for the Sabres.
Okay, I don't have that move. I don't hate that move. Let's keep an eye on it. I also don't hate this slate, or do I? Let's get to a slate grade. Capitals at Sabres at 7 p.m. Eastern. That is going to be a Sean. Can you give me a Capitals and Sabres poll, please?
Man, not off the top of my head, actually. That is on NHL Network, though. So,
we got a Nicholas Aube-Kubel Bowl.
oh, of course.
Oh, okay.
Yes, I did know that one.
Okay, I like that. And then at 7:30 p.m., the Canucks at the Canadians. I know that's a Yarrow Halak Bowl. We could do that, right?
There's a lot of Yarrow Halak Bowls. That is definitely one of them.
Is there anybody else in the Canucks and the?
I was gonna say, yeah. Sabres Capitals is Halak Bowl as well.
Oh yeah, it is. Let's see if we can keep it going. So Panthers at Avalanche, I do not believe is a Yarrow Halak Bowl. Panthers at Avalanche would be I think there's a goalie.
I always have to force my brain to think of like the previous jerseys when I think of these because
Halak never actually played a game for the Buffalo Sabres.
Really?
He spent like 2 weeks on them before getting flipped again and never actually suited up.
Those are the best.
Okay,
Yeah,
Panthers at Avalanche is indeed a Craig Anderson Bowl
Oh.
and a Jose Theodore Bowl.
Wow, so, oops, all goalies.
Let's see who else we got. We got Jonas Johansson, a Michael Hutchinson Bowl, who else we got outside of the net? There's a George Peros Bowl, not bad.
Oh yeah, Evan Rodriguez Bowl.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. That's at 9 p.m. Eastern and at 10 p.m. Eastern. The Devils visit the Kraken in a
Tomas Tatar Bowl.
I was going to say Adam Larson Bowl.
Oh, true. Yep.
There's a whole 6 players who have played for both of these teams, actually.
Really?
Yeah, Adam Larson, Tomas Tatar, Marcus Johansson, Nathan Bastian, and John Hayden.
Ooh.
Okay.
Let me see.
The Kraken have the most, or do the Devils have the most Kraken?
Oh, and Marian Studnik. Studenik?
I wanted to see if there are any more Capitals and Sabres that we missed. So I'm efforting that right now. But see, you got 7:30, I like the structure.
Structure's great.
It's an easy structure for a 4-gamer. There just is not a good game, really.
Canucks Canadians.
Canucks Canadians I like just because the Canadians are hot and the Canucks
Panthers
is noted.
Did you say that Craig Anderson? Which one was the Craig Anderson Bowl?
I went Craig Anderson for the Panthers and Avalanche, but it is also a Capitals and Sabres.
A Phil Housley Bowl.
A Mike Greer Bowl after the Panthers and Avalanche were an AJ Greer Bowl. There's some good ones there. Look, this is an A-. I'm not going to bullshit you. It's a Michael Neuwirth Bowl.
A Connor Sherry Bowl.
Ooh, shout out Connor Sherry.
Beck Malenstein.
All right.
Beck Malenstein revenge game.
Yes, it is. A- for me. Easy A-. I'm going to miss World Juniors, but honestly, I'm kind of happy that's done.
Yeah, I'm ready to be
It's
locked
tough to watch
back
the
in.
NHL when
It really is.
World Juniors is happening.
Yep.
And I just feel like we've been on vacation, though we've been doing shows. So we're back. We're back to normal. Let me see if I should say. I won't quite say who our guest is tomorrow, but it's
we have a guest.
Friend of the show. It's a good guest, and it is an NHL player. We will give you those details soon. Pete, if you could tell the folks to like and subscribe.
Please hit that thumbs up button right below the video player. That is the like button. This is called the like spike. We love it. We love it. We love it. We also really, really appreciate your subs. So if you can sub to the YouTube channel We're trying to climb. Very much appreciate it. Thanks for watching the show. Thanks for listening to the show. Give us 5 stars on Spotify, all those good places, Apple Music. We love you. We will see you tomorrow.
We all silly like the mayor.